sign here, and then I have Mark sign in here, and then I'll pull out the rest here and make a copy for you.
Better read it first, though, huh?
Sure. How exciting.
Did you get my shotgun in there? You forgot my shotgun. Well, I have a set. Okay, shotgun. That's cool.
Let me get this.
I also donated my grandfather's shotgun,
It's awesome.
which he used as a homestead.
Cool. That's awesome.
So, let's see, what we have is 148 photographs from the homestead in Europe that we donated. And, I've been collecting these for more than 25 years. This is the first one.
140.
And it's an incredible addition to collection here, art collections, at the monument, and it will go a long way in providing not only current generations, but future generations great amount of information about homesteading, homesteading techniques,
Do you want to repeat all that?
research.
You said it was a great addition to
It's a great addition to the monuments collection, and it is be a great resource for researchers wanting to learn more about the homesteading story within our nation, within the state of Nebraska.
We don't have an individual one, unfortunately.
And we hope that Jim's collection will be the start of really something great where we can grow our archives and we can greatly expand the photographic offerings, and we think that by doing such, we'll give not only this generation but future generations a glimpse into this important part, this important story in American history.
Never can have more than we can.
That's right. I was gonna say, if you run out, we can get you. I can look for one.
So it'd be a great start to
Be a great start to expanding our archival collection as it relates to photographs, and it will not only provide this generation, but future generations the opportunity to explore and research this part of American history. Better understand.
What do you think of the homestead history?
I think that it's an incredibly important part this story within American history is maybe taken for granted, maybe not fully understood, and from the standpoint that through this story, 270 million acres were settled, and it represents part of history that, like Jim's ancestors and 93 million other people were a part of. And I think for many, many years and decades, that this history was like just there, and maybe we took it for granted, and we didn't really stop to think about it, stop to realize what these people who participated in this event really went through, what they endured, and the outcomes from their work. And I think that having such things like these photographs give us a glimpse into that in that period of time. You know, the Homestead Act is historians have said that of all the laws ever created by our nation's government, that it's one of the three most important pieces of legislation ever created. And
What are the other two?
the other two is
Louisiana
Kansas,
Purchase.
the Louisiana Purchase and the Kansas-Nebraska Act, because of how it influenced the war. It's tied into that. Then there's a creation of a national monument, Homestead National Monument. They say, why is there a national monument? But I think when you stop to think about the Homestead Act and what it did, it gave away 160 acres of free land. And when this 160 acres of free land were given to people who are not even yet citizens of our nation, who women for the first time were provided the opportunity to own land. It was a law that was really revolutionary for its time. But this law had far-reaching impacts on immigration, migration patterns. It had far-reaching implications to the industrialization of our nation. Each of these homesteaders, as you can see in many of these photos, they all had tools, they all had pieces of equipment. And these pieces of tools, these pieces of equipment are not being, for the most part, manufactured here on these homesteads. They're being manufactured in our nation's industrial complexes. And so it was actually helping drive the Industrial Revolution in many, many sectors. We can also look at the law and how and what its role was in the development of agriculture within the United States. And many historians have said that as our nation is considered a great agriculture superpower, the greatest in the history of the world, the Homesteading Act had a significant place in the development of this agriculture superpower. We can also look at the relationship this law had with Native people, not so much in places maybe like most of Nebraska, but in like Oklahoma and Dakotas, where there was a direct correlation with the law and Native people. There's also relationships in with the Civil War. So the law the Homestead Act is truly, I think, one of the most significant laws ever in the history of the United States. In fact, other nations have looked to emulate, copy the Homestead Act of 1862, such as Russia, such as Canada had their own Homestead Act. But anyway, these pictures help capture that period of time. And while we talk about the Homestead Act and these big overall concepts, it's individuals, it's families, it's their history, because those 93 million descendants, they all come from those original 2 million people who filed those homestead claims. And they literally changed this nation into by like these pictures capture those individual stories within those far overreaching major concepts that when they all come together, they make those big concepts happen.
You must be thrilled
Oh, it's an awesome
with
thing.
all of the photographs to add.
And you know,
Have you looked through them?
yes. And I think one of the things that maybe we don't know what's going to happen with these photos. Mm-hmm. Meaning we know that they're going to be taken care of, mm-hmm. and they're going to be here into the future for centuries. But we don't know where they're going to end up. Meaning we might find them in textbooks one day.
That's the purpose.
Right. We may find them in other places where future generations, future kids, future students will be learning about this important part of American history. And you know, right now within our society, we talk about agriculture and the relevancy of agriculture and how maybe different regions of the country don't fully understand agriculture and that sort of thing. But it's images like this that help us make those connections and help us educate people about the development of America's agricultural story. And so the resource here with these pictures, it's a tremendous educational resource. And because they're going to help educate people about this story, they're going to help educate people about the role of agriculture, not only within the United States, but globally. And it's going to give us a chance to look back at a piece of, at a time in American history when things were different. The opportunity to grow from an educational standpoint is tremendous because of these photos.
Did you find anything in the photos that surprised you, or
There's some weird stuff in there.
There is.
like what?
Like this thing right here, whatever it is, we don't know what it is.
I purposefully had it.
Yeah, I know you did because you fell in love with this image. Nobody really knows what this is, but this is some invention by some homesteader back in the day, and it's just an odd thing. But here's a guy with smallpox. You know, that's what this photo is. It's a guy with smallpox. There are no photos of people with smallpox. Who wanted to get near them to take their photo? Mm-hmm. Nobody. So.
That's incredible. Is that like a vehicle?
It's some kind of farm vehicle, we think. We don't know.
Wow.
We don't know what that is, but
It's quite the contraption.
it is. But I want to tell you the story behind these photos.
Yes. Yes.
I've collected photographs for more than 25 years. I've traveled around the United States, and when I find something special, I buy it. My grandfathers on both sides are homesteaders. Okay? So the homesteading spirit is very near and dear to my heart because it's only 2 generations away. Both my grandfathers did pretty well on their homestead deeds. I still have their homestead certificates hanging on my wall. So I really fell in love with a man named Solomon Butcher. Solomon Butcher is one of the most well-known American photographers that captured the homesteading movement. And a lot of the archives in this building are built on Solomon Butcher's works. So after a while, probably for the past 10 years, I've hunted for a place to donate my photos to. And I've literally gone to museums and figured out if they'll fit into their archives or their archives. And I found this wonderful place, which is it's a museum dedicated to the homesteaders, which is exactly what I've collected for 25 years. I've collected homesteading photos. And in particular, I have a number of Solomon D. Butcher's original prints. which are very rare and very valuable.
Wow. Are any of them here?
No, I've actually kept those. There's a couple here that may be Solomon Butchers that I've donated. I'm not sure. I haven't authenticated them yet. But this is the beginning of my donation to this place. I don't know if you know that, but what I'm going to do is donate my entire photo collection to Homestead Monument, which
And
is
how
very
many are
vast.
here right now?
148. But I will be donating my original butchers. Okay. And everything else that may or may not be related to homesteading, because I'd like to keep my archive together as much as possible. When I found this place, I found out it didn't have a photo archive to speak of. It really didn't have any original artworks. And although Butcher is a very good archive of homesteading, it's only in one county for the most part, and that's Custer County, Nebraska, which is where my grandfather's homestead was, Custer County.
So safely, it's the first photo archive you really have. I mean,
This magnitude, yes.
yes.
And my ultimate dream is that this will start a photo archive at the Homestead National Monument. And hopefully it will.
Right. So when Jim talks about Solomon Butcher, I'm sure that you've seen this photo, and this is one of Butcher's most famous images because of
The cow on the roof.
The cow on the roof, which is really not on the roof; it's really on the hill behind the house.
Yeah.
It looks like it's on the roof. So, and this photograph you can find in textbooks. Consistently, when they talk about homesteading, that this photo usually shows up. So.
And Solomon Butcher's works are housed in the Library of Congress. They have this collection. And online,
Wow.
you can go there and see all of these low, medium, and high resolution images. And when I found my first Solomon Butcher photograph, I went there right away. I found it. And it was an exciting day when I found my first Solomon Butcher photograph because I knew who he was. And I went on that website and I searched for my grandfathers, and I did not find my mother's father, but I found my father's father, and it's a Solomon Butcher photograph, and it's on the website. And that was a really exciting day.
Your paternal grandfather.
Yes, my paternal grandfather. And my grandfather was a young homesteader. He may have been 16, 17, 18 in that photo. And my
Wow.
grandmother too. I mean, that's how old you were when you homesteaded, right?
Right.
So that's what really hooked me on the homesteading idea. And I'm really blessed that I can finally find a place for my photographs to go, because I'm not going to live forever. I really want them to go down together in some kind of educational experience for somebody else. It's that important. But some of the other stuff that I have to donate is like some Texas stuff that has implications into cowboys going into Mexico, things like that.
Nice.
They're just traveling the trail. So hopefully you guys can do something with this.
It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
Can we get that picture?
Sure.
I'd like to get it too.
Get one more of you guys looking at me. Oh. Come on. There we go.
Get you. I don't have this book actually. I have this big book, but I don't have this book.
Is that a gift
That's a fair.
to
Yes.
him?
Thank you very much. And I'm definitely into Richard Ford. I was hunting for this photo the other day online. I couldn't find it. I wanted to show somebody this photo. So I really appreciate it.
Then we talk about Butcher, we always think of that photo.
And the one with the guys wearing the hoods with the fake scissors
Right.
trying to cut the
That's
fences.
right.
I love that.
That's right. So, another one kind of like that is one of the former locals. You see now where they paint.
Oh, they paint him in, yeah.
Paint him.
See, he was not a true to life photographer. He painted a turkey in this one too.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that one. Oh, Thursday Tactical
This
Wrestling.
is amazing,
There it
Jim.
is. No, I think it's a great day for Homestead National Monument of America. It's a great day for I think also for scholars and future scholars and really for the American people. So, because this collection now is Jim has turned it over to the American people, and that's a pretty neat thing. So,
We just got started, kid.
and we're delighted that Jim's entrusted it to us.
And a lot of this is Nebraska. A lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it is.
They homestead here, Jim.
Custer County, which is in the Sandhills.
Both
Nebraska.
grandfathers?
Yep. I love these images.
So now, when this collection, now did this pass down through the family, or you said you've been all over the United
I
States?
purchased all these.
All of them?
All of them, yeah. As I travel around, I'm buying stuff. And a lot of them aren't tremendously valuable.
That was my next question.
When you go to buy them, but...
Tell me
as-
what you paid for something.
Some stuff is 50 cents. Some stuff is several hundred. And it just depends on the image. But I think it was terribly undervalued.
Sorry, I need to head out.
No problem.
Thank you again.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
That's great.
This was shotgun. And do you ever know offhand what kind it was?
It's a Parker.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
You want to put that on? It's a Parker Builders.
Can you tell me anything about some of these, or?
These are the first irrigation canals out in Geary, Nebraska,
Okay.
which is far western Nebraska. They established irrigation in the 1880s out there, which is incredible. This is saying over my grandfather's shotgun.
So these are from the 1880s, you're
Yeah.
saying?
1880s,
Wow.
1890s.
Okay, so
Thanks.
wow.
Now these were taken with the second series of Kodak camera ever invented. Yeah. And you took 100 exposures, sent the camera into Kodak, and they developed it, reloaded it with film, and sent it back to you. But that's what took those images.
100 photos, you said?
100 images, yeah, per load of film. It's been a while since I've looked at some of these images. But there's like early bridges that were constructed. This is a sugar beet factory in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, where they're moving sugar beets in wagons and stuff. But there's also like party pictures, like these people are just sitting on a bank of a river. There's even some pictures of people drinking, which is really fascinating. I love those. Some are identified, some are not identified.
Where's the party pic?
Here's a
Is
party
the one-
pic right here. See, these guys are all sitting here drinking beer. This is a fascinating photo. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yep. That's a cyanotype. School marm on vacation. I mean, that's pretty interesting. There's sawmills in here, I think. I think I gave them sawmills, I'm not sure. I have plenty of them. Oh yeah, this actually is, I thought that was really close to a butcher when I found it, but it's not. It's down in Hays, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar to butcher's style, where it puts everybody in front of the house and all that they own type of thing. Here's a party picture, some big thing. This is a supply train, U.S. Army supply train going through the streets of somewhere. Maybe identified on the back, and it's not. I do suspect that this is potentially a Solomon butcher. It has a look of it. It's one of those that was on the cusp that I
Wow,
don't
they're
know
just
if it
in
is or
the,
not.
just no trees, no,
Well, there was no trees.
yeah, just amazing.
But yeah, that was one I suspected could be. Never proved it though. It's been a while since I've seen him, so I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no.
And they're
no,
coming in
absolutely.
various different, like on,
Now this is in
You know, a
this,
variety of paper and
yeah. This is a great one. I haven't had this one very long before I donated it. It said some campers up by Pickman's trees on Clyde's land, but they got wagons. But they're called campers, which I thought was really cool. This one I got last summer down in Omaha. I was going to a camera show and I stumbled across it.
do we know where that's at or?
No, I don't. I paid $4.50 for it,
Wow.
but it's a beautiful image. I still think that stuff's undervalued. These are all North Dakota.
Oh wow, look at that.
These are all North Dakota. They were all taken by the same photographer.
It's a nice photo.
And I stumbled across those as a collection. So.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And often
Incredible.
I've been known to buy everybody's collection too. I go into a household and buy a trunk full of photos. Start sorting through it. This is a cool image.
Yeah.
Building a new house and you got the wagons out here and stuff. I also suspect that one could be a butcher.
Which one are you at?
This one.
And that one is for donations.
He likes getting on top of things or getting those kind of
Yeah.
downward shots.
This was, I've seen him do this kind of stuff. Most people haven't run across this. I have another photo of a bridge where he's done a similar type of thing. And I don't think it's marked. Because this was like cutting edge, century type stuff. Those two I always suspected were potentially his. Don't know.
Were they mounted when you bought them?
Yeah, exactly like that.
There's your documentation.
Thank you, sir.
Is this gonna go on display right away, or how's that gonna work?
The first plan that we have for it is to show it in our archival collection viewing room, and that is where we do temporary displays for various projects right now. And next we have instruments displayed.
Do you know an approximate date of that?
It'll probably be around the beginning of September when we start doing our school groups, because we want school children to be able to go over and see these images. That's very important to take a look at these. And then another way that one of the first things we're going to do is set to scanning these images, because as Jim was mentioning, you can go onto the National Archives website and see these butcher images. Well, we want to do the same thing with the Jim Headley collection. We want to scan them and we want to bring those to life on our website, because in order for scholars, researchers, these people who are going to be writing about them, studying them, in order for them to get them, they need access to them, and we want to provide that access to them as fast as possible. And it also helps us protect the original images too, so that way we can close these up, put these in these climate controlled environments, so they stay pristine, but people still have access to them.
And it will be called the Jim Headley Collection.
That's what I'm calling it right now. We haven't officially named it, but that's what I'm calling it right now. And I can assume that will be the collection name of it.
That's awesome, Jim.
I know, I'm kind of surprised.
Do you have a card?
I do, and I'm going to have to run downstairs in my office and grab it for you.
Okay.
And I worked a lot with Blake on this, so Mark doesn't steal all the credit.
Why don't you tell me what you think of it then?
For me personally, to have this collection in our possession, and Mark did mention that he donated this to the American people, but we get calls so often asking for images of the homesteading era, and we can finally get excited about getting those calls and saying, we have the perfect images for you, or we have a collection of images that you can look through to see what's going to suit your needs best. And for some of these very unique ones that we've never seen before, we have some very authentic images of the prairie that people have never seen. And I've been looking at old photographs for the better part of 5 years of this homesteading era, and I've never come across a vehicle of that type. I've never come across images of folks sitting around and partaking in a beverage, these kinds of different things. So it's really bringing the prairie to life for us. And for me personally, I'm excited about a scholar being able to actually study these images a little bit more in depth, because there's a lot we don't know about them. And for somebody to be able to study them as closely as the Solomon Butcher collection has been studied, we may learn so much more about the Great Plains than we ever thought we knew. And that's what photographs do for us. And for Jim to have put this collection together and then to be as gracious to donate it to us
That's pretty awesome.
is
They deserve
Because
it.
usually
That's just
you're
it. They
going to
deserve it.
find
I'm
your
sorry.
large collections at larger, museums.
But literally, I've hunted for 10 years for a place to put this. And this is the place to put my collection.
and as I was telling Jim, we may get a family that would come in and donate a couple or 3 photographs, or somebody would donate an image of an old home or something like that. But for years we've relied on other people's collections, and now we have a collection that we can be proud of and we can start building on. And for me personally, I would love to see the Jim Headley collection become the Jim Headley Art Lab or Photo Archive. I mean, that's how important it is.
Nothing pleases my heart better than what you're saying. Thank you. Thank you.
So I mean that's how important that really is how important it is to me. And all of his donations will certainly be kept separate, being the original donor of these. But for the other photographs that we do have, in order to build a cohesive collection, hopefully one day we'll be able to say the Jim Headley Art Photo Archive collection. And that's what I would like.
It'd be cool if people started
Very
donating
good.
photos of their families and their stories and things off of this. I mean, that'd be great. That'd be amazing.
And that is one of our goals with this. I want to put some of these pictures up and say, can you identify this? Do you have photographs similar to this? Have images of the collection and say, tell a story about Jim and where these images came from. And please, if you want to have yours preserved, think of Homestead National Monument before using an estate sale or.
And I find images like this all the time in flea markets, antique stores, and they're, often they're cheap. I found one last weekend for $5. $5. And I do think it's another Solomon Butcher. I'm looking at it in depth. If it's a Solomon Butcher, it's a $10,000 photograph. But people are throwing this stuff away. They're not saving it, and they need to, because this is going to be gone very soon.
Absolutely.
These images are more than 100 years old now, for the most part, and they're not going to last forever. They need to be preserved, or they're just going to disappear.
And I think we as a culture take photographs for granted, quite frankly. And having these images that are in this kind of condition, as Jim mentioned, over 100 years old, is really quite rare. And we're talking about the beginning of photography. This is really the beginning of the history of photography, and they don't last forever. And we just assume that once it's captured, it's going to last forever. But they do fade, they do disappear, and once they're gone, and we lose that window into that piece of history. So having them is so vitally important. And not knowing what they are, so many people will just toss them away.
The westward expansion of America is an amazing story.
It is
Amazing.
It
And my
absolutely
family
is.
was part of it. That's why this is important.
Did they ever talk to you?
My mother told me the stories about my grandfather all the time.
Did your grandfathers, were they alive when you were?
No, I never met them.
Really?
One of my grandfathers is 99 years older than I am. So he was 99 years old the day I was born. That's amazing. And that's He's the one whose shotgun I donated. But he homesteaded with that shotgun. That's why I donated it to the museum.
Is the shotgun here?
It's in the archive.
archive. It's locked up in our firearms.
What kind of shotgun is it?
It's a Parker Brother double barrel. And it's actually kind of a rare gun. It's not common.
The resident hunting fellow guys, especially from our maintenance crew, were just oohing and hawing over this guy. It's a good gun. When we had it out,
I had it in Cabela's one day.
You've had it on display before.
we haven't had it on display.
I just got it.
Yeah, we just received it, but when I was walking into the building, they all saw it coming into the building and knew that I was.
When did you
carrying
donate it?
Well, with this it's just part of this donation.
Okay.
I just signed the papers just a second.
Oh, for the gun?
Yeah.
So we didn't
Blake and Mark came to my house and looked through stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
brought it back, they archived it, and then we signed the papers. That's why it's kind of taken care of. It's a lot neater than I had it.
Yeah, we went through image by image, measuring each image and documenting the size, what the image was, if it had a unique marking on it, these kinds of different things. And then in order to preserve them, obviously they won't sit like this, but everything is acid-free and UV protected, so that way you can ensure that these photographs will last as long as we possibly can. And they are kept in our archival collection room that is climate controlled and for humidity and temperature as well. Because nothing is more damaging to a photograph than light. And that's why they go into these UV sleeves that you see here, wrapped in an acid-free environment.
Okay.
And then even these envelopes here are both acid-free and UV-free, so
Okay.
the ones that don't quite fit into the sleeves, we put into those.
Fascinating.
And I was thinking this morning, you'll like this, but the photo archive that was established at Scottsbluff National Monument was because William Henry Jackson donated all his original photographs to the monument in the 30s when he was an old man. And that established a photo archive there that's really good. Even most of the nation doesn't know that archive's there, but hopefully that will do something for you guys so you can establish that archive.
This literally does establish an archive for us, and it gives us this potential. 148 photographs is not a small collection by any means, especially when we're dealing with the age of these photographs. The Solomon Butcher collection that's on the National Archives website, I want to say, is just in the neighborhood of under 500 photographs. So we're talking about a substantial donation in photographs that covers a variety of communal activities, as you can see, to daily life on the prairie. And we're covering a wide scope of American culture during this era of westward expansion.
Other museums are going to be really jealous.
They are, and we hope they are. And we hope they want to come and view these and be a part of it.
Thank you very much.
You got another?
Have you said all you wanted to say?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you so
You're a
much.
gentleman. I really enjoyed meeting you through this process.